There is a program Ekoso Anan Ekoso here the Greater Accra region. Now, the name of this particular program, as you can see on your screen, a representative of course, so and one of the guys from course, so I just say, we try picture our banner niche. The name of this program, no, and boldly inscribed at the background, no, a Africa Prosperity Dialogue 2026. In short, different APD. Now, sa APD, we are learning is the person behind it, so the powerhouse behind it, a Gabby Okyere, Darko, and then the media, house. Now, this particular Africa Prosperity Dialogue, no, in Kabomu and a meeting bia and a Kasebia and Kofobi, they come together, various Africans from the diaspora and even those within the continent. So they come together, they convey at a particular place to send a message. Say Ghana, be about this, not just say one more Nigeria multimimbra, one more Kenya multimimbra, one more South Africa multimimbra. Now the main aim of this dialogue is that US no or more borderless. The United States of America be be or pay. But Africa no ya chemu call a year to go crowd vesa any other. And because of that, no, ama yintimi and boom. And also Kwame Nkrumah's vision to make sure say Ghana we will come together as the United States of Africa, the USA, Kamia Kwese, it still hasn't materialized. And because of that, people like Gabby Okyere is taking the initiative to bring this whole initiative and I said this particular event, the APD, that's African Prosperity Dialogue, no, or Francophone, so Mombra, Nayanka, Sambia Ghana, be a borderless. Now, shut up, or say, make Africa borderless now. Now, one person who could was our event, yes, yeah, or Kasaya, or the administrator, air to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And him said the time is now for Ghana to remove its border and be a borderless country. Apart from that, to Africa, be in the borders, no, Sarkodie, Stoneboy, and Mr. Easy. Now, I wouldn't put words in their mouth. You could change some on one gasa or Mulituja Babaka. We continue.
Your Excellencies, distinguished head of states, business leaders, innovators, creators, and my fellow Africans. I stand before you today not only as an artist, but as an African who believes that this generation has a responsibility to finish the work that history left incomplete. Africa is not short of talent. We are not short of ideas. We are not short of ambition. What we have been short of is access. Access to markets, access to capital, access to opportunity, and sometimes access to each other. Borders were drawn without us. Yet, decades later, they decide who can trade, who can travel, who can grow, and who must wait. This is why this moment matters. Make Africa borderless to me is not a protest. It's not a complaint. It's a call to action rooted in economic sense, dignity, and Africa's self-belief. As creatives, we see this clearly. Music moves where visas hesitate. Art travels where paperwork delays. Culture flows freely across Africa, even when people and goods struggle to do the same. That tells us something. The African people are already borderless. Our system just needs to catch up. But let us be honest about who pays the price for this fragmentation. Is it the woman entrepreneur with a great product, discipline, and vision who cannot reach customers across borders because the system works against her? Or is it the young African innovator with global ideas building solutions from bedroom or a co-working space, but boxed by regulations that limit scale? Is it the SME that employs our people, drives our economies, and carries our hopes, yet faces delays, costs, and uncertainty, simply for trying to trade within Africa? A borderless Africa is not about removing identity. It is about unlocking value. It is about turning innovation into industry, creativity into commerce, and ambition into shared prosperity. When women trade freely, economies expand. When youth scale across borders, jobs multiply. When SMEs move goods, services, and capital without friction, Africa becomes competitive. This is why I stand with the movement. Not because it sounds good, but because it works. not because it's fashionable, but because it is necessary. Not because it is radical, but because it is long, long overdue. We cannot speak about single African market while maintaining divided pathways. We cannot talk about prosperity while mobility remains restricted. And we cannot inspire the next generation if opportunities stop at the borders. This generation has a choice. We can manage fragmentation, or we can build integration. We can protect barriers, or we can unlock markets. And we can delay the future, or we can deliver it. So today, alongside leaders, entrepreneurs, women, and young people across the continent, I add my voice to a simple, powerful message. Let Africans move. Let Africans trade. Let Africans thrive. The future of Africa should not need permission to cross borders. You know what time it is. Make Africa borderless now. Thank you.
So that was a Sarkodie and some of the two just let's make Africa borderless. Me show ya until Ghana your border Nigeria ni ban what's here stopping. Togo ni ban what's here stopping was see beam because Kwame Nkrumah ni so ade hu no say Africa nyina eba boom baako. It at the end of the day sana Ghana for ye be ma amount for ho kwamama ba hasaso na yeso your call man wa. And now we are going to their country. They will also allow us, and I will go freely without any hesitation or passing through any visa requirements. Now, Sarkodie was not the only person who actually spoke at this particular event. Livingston HA class, Stonebwoy, also Kasaya, also was echoing this same issue and this same argument and this same I don't know how to put this in plea. No more pages Ghana and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Can we do something? Can we do it now? Why don't you drop our borders here in Ghana and even in Africa?
I go by the name Livingston Echekwame. I'm a proud Ghanaian youth. I believe that in this room is filled with policymakers and those who sign and write the futures of every individual on the continent, especially the youths, on papers. But it is time, now that we realize that the youth are gravitated to creative arts and entertainment. Therefore, please and please, we wish that you would actually make sure that you incorporate us in the policy making and do make sure that you enforce these laws that will make Africa a brighter future. So when my father, chairman, calls on me to always be a part of this, I don't flinch. I make sure that with the influence that I have on the continent of Africa, especially Ghana being the home of APD, I make sure that I run to the call. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to lead this charter as one who came from the ghetto, who rose from the ranks, went back to school to get degrees and masters, so that I can be called upon at certain functions like this to still represent the youth of Ghana and Africa. Thank you so much. So I really want to call on all the youth watching me from across the continent and into the Caribbean to make sure that you grab this opportunity, sign the petition so that our futures can be bright. Because for all I care, everybody in this room has already made the most out of their life and they're still putting it on the line to make sure that we get what we deserve. So the least we can do is to join in, use the same social media as a powerful tool to scan these codes and press on the links to sign up so we can present this at the AU come next year. God bless you.
Now, Stonebwoy was not the only person who also spoke. Yatse in Semnefi, a Sarkodie Hoba, Stonebwoy also full. Remember, I said the person and I said the organization behind this particular APD, that's the Africa Prosperity Dialogue. Their theme for this year is to make Africa borderless now. No, and to say their main mantra is that Ghana we should drop our borders, Nigeria should drop our borders, yeah, allow free movement for trade. Everything send a Ghana no send a US city man thrive and we can thrive the same as the United States of America. In this case, no, about the United States of Africa. Now, one person I didn't feel Nigeria buy or it sounds so a musician. He rose up from Ghana here, went to Nigeria and came back. Mr. Easy. Mr. Easy was also invited from Nigeria to join this particular call, and also he also came on stage to sound the same to sound the same lamentation. Saying that Africa and Ghana, we need to drop our borders down. This is a plea to President John Dramani Mahama.
Lack of ambition, speaking as a young entrepreneur and creative. But the biggest problem we face is friction. And this is why this is important to me, and this is why I'm speaking today. I'm going to speak about friction for a second. In the last 10 years, I've spent 6 of those years as a singer touring the world, and 4 of those years, doing a lot of entrepreneurship. And 2 things remind me. I remember when I was 2 things. One, I remember that in the first 6 years, on the first 2 years of me blowing up, it was easier to tour America and tour Europe than tour Africa as a singer. So whilst I had the biggest songs, those who know, whilst I had the top #1 songs in Africa, it was harder for me to tour. And I remember 2 occasions, one of me going into Kenya with my band, and even though I'd been paid to perform, I was stopped at the border. And whilst my band, which had, other nationalities, could go in, I, who was the lead artist, who was paid the most money, had to wait at the border. And I remember telling the immigration, I said, well, I've been paid, so if you want to send me back home, I'm going to be on the next flight. But that speaks to the reality of the friction that is being put in place and stopping us from uniting, and stopping us from being stronger, and stopping us from developing. Now, in the last 4 years of my career, I've spent that as an entrepreneur, solving the problem that exists, solving this frictional issue that exists as the roadblock in making Africa borderless. And I've invested in businesses that are now live in 19 African countries, of which I'm really proud of, is a company that is live in 19 African countries and processes 4 million transactions a day. 4 million transactions a day.
Okay, so that was Mr. Easy in Sama or the Tuja. Nebedi kako if he ha yebeko in some for because there are a lot of things I was here count a lot of issues I was here count right here on this particular platform Pinaxtv. Therefore, what you are watching on the screens, we need the you should realize that this is definitely a great man and as right here on this particular platform.